to Country Tough with Brandy von Holten. Today, it's just me. So, let's get started, guys. I have an association called Tough Trail Versatility. So those letters are CTTV. Since there's two T's in the middle, then we put the number 2 in there. So we call it CT2V. All right, Country Tough Trail Versatility. It's an equine competition. It's an open show. There are 3 parts of it. We have classes that deal with ranch horsemanship, natural obstacles, and trail. We also have a couple of foundations classes, which are in hand, and you would be doing obstacles in those in-hand divisions. We have some lead line. We have schooling classes. You're going to want to stay tuned for this right here because I've put it out there and said, what are some questions that would help other people learn about CT2V, and what are some questions that you have? So I ask some of our alumni that have been doing this for a while, and some new people have chimed in that have never done it before. So I'm going to go through these questions. Those 3 parts, ranch horsemanship, trail, and obstacles, those are put together for a versatility score. Okay, so here is what I put into a Facebook post, and I said, I need help. I am wanting to do a podcast about CT2V. Help me by writing questions I could answer to help others learn about CT2V. If you are into podcasts, check out Country Tough with Brandy von Holten. So that was the flair that I put out into the world and said, hey, help me help CT2V and help me help others. Okay, so let's go through these questions. The first one is by a lady by the name of Terry Hatcher. Now, Terry Hatcher has done all sorts of events. She's a barrel racer. She rides English. She has done lessons. She's an amazing trail rider. And let's hear her questions, okay? So here was her comment. She said, I find CT2V helps develop a great young horse. And she ended that with an exclamation mark. So that's really nice to hear. So she says, what is it about CT2V that helps develop confidence in a young or a green horse? Okay, I think one of the main things that helps build confidence in a young or a green horse is that we don't have any points for speed in obstacles. I myself have went too fast too soon whenever I was training one of our horses, and it just made him kind of hot. I wish that I would have taken the time to develop my horse at a slower speed before adding that speed element. Something else that I think that helps is our ranch horsemanship patterns. They really help horses with transitions. It helps you focus on transitions. And what I mean by that is going from a walk to a stop, or going from a walk to a trot or a slow gait, or going to an extended trot or a faster gait. Okay, it's just whenever you're asking for something, it helps you to have like a curriculum to follow, and that's what the ranch horsemanship does. It helps you really hone in on some of those skill sets where a lot of times people they want their horses to do well, but they might not have a curriculum. And I feel like CT2V does that in a safe environment with having our ranch horsemanship patterns, with having obstacles that are natural instead of over the top. We're not trying to scare horses. We're trying to develop a safe relationship. And then our trail, if our hosts are able to actually do trail, because now we've opened CT2V up to people that might not have trail, but they would do their competition just a little bit different. We have a solution for not having actual trail, and it's that people go into the arena with obstacles, but they go in as a group. Whereas in the obstacle competition, you have 10 obstacles, and one person goes through all 10 of those at one time. The trail portion is, a lot of times people will learn something in the arena, but then not carry that over into the trail. And so I think that what helps with building confidence in a young or a green horse is humans speaking one language. So what that means is so many times I will see someone do really fancy stuff in the arena, and then they do not do the same stuff anywhere else, the same horsemanship. And so with CT2V, it helps take that horsemanship out of the arena and put it into an actual working environment on the trail. And it helps with obstacles. I think it's going to help make them more confident with just compliance and seeing that your horse or your mule or your donkey can always depend upon you, because you're always going to set them up for success. So I hope that I answered that first question. Something else that I think that really builds confidence is our in-hand divisions. I mean, talk about, you want to really help your equine just be successful. And the way they're going to be successful and grow confidence in themselves is just to be introduced to everything in the world and realize, hey, I didn't die, and my owner always set me up for success. So it's building trust. All right. Next question is, what is a benefit of more natural obstacles? Well, here's the deal, is I want people to trail ride all over this world. I want them to go to Mount Rushmore. I want them to go to Texas. I want them to go to Louisiana. I want them to go to Arkansas. I want them to go everywhere. And with natural obstacles and competing with those in CT2V, I feel like we're increasing safety, because even though their location might change, a lot of the things they're going to encounter will still be the same. A ditch, a ledge, a tree, an animal jumping out. Natural obstacles, whenever we're able to recreate those environments as much as we can in a controlled environment, I think that's going to make the equine increase in their own confidence level. And then it's also going to allow the rider to realize, hey, this is, whenever I say go through something, you can trust me and go through it. I think instead of doing the crazy things where it looks like a tornado's went through a yard sale, I just feel like I don't want the horses to be a robot. I want to have like a really good relationship with our equine, and using natural obstacles, something that they're going to see in normal life. I think that's just more beneficial. All right. Are the patterns judged according to ranch horse criteria or AQHA? So they're not judged by AQHA. It's more open show criteria, because we have different breeds. So what we're going to be looking for is just compliance, transitions whenever we ask them, and just a willing partner. Okay, is CT2V set up for gaited horses? 100% yes. We always select judges that are used to not just one breed. We want judges that have done anything and everything. They've had the quarter horses. They've trained grade horses. They've had a mule. They've messed with a Tennessee Walker and a Missouri Foxtrotter or a Pasifino, just all sorts of breeds. So it is set up. If we have in a pattern and we say go to a trot, it says trot/slow gait, because I didn't want to put all of the different gaits, so we're just needing to see a slow one. And then if we ask them to go to an extended trot, we would go extended trot/faster gait. Okay, but you know how many people I have heard, oh, a foxtrotter can't canter. Well, I'm here to say you're wrong, honey bun, because we have foxtrotters here that gait and they canter all the time. Okay, so that's not accurate. Those horses are going to be cantering all out in the field. So we do ask everything to walk. We do ask everything to canter, depending upon what division you're in. Some of our divisions do not canter in the ranch horsemanship patterns. Okay, all right, so that right there is Terry Hatcher. The next person is Samantha Carter. Now, Samantha Carter, she has been with us for a while, and you know what? This lady, I respect her so much. She actually has an equine facility also, branched into that since I've known her. All right, she has several horses, but she has a lot of Mustangs, and she's been successful in several divisions, including our in-hand also. So here are her questions. So Samantha says, who is CT2V for? Then she says level of rider and interest. Okay, so who CT2V is for? I mean, it's too general to say for everyone. Okay, so a more specific answer, I think that we're a grassroots association, which means we get people ready to do other things that they're wanting to do, or we have a home for people that like CT2V and want to stay here. So we like to graduate people on up if they're just like, man, I really like the ranch horsemanship and I hate the trail. Well, then I'm like, okay, let's go into, maybe some ranch horse things, or maybe go into reining. Or there might be people that are like, man, I really love trail, but I want to go faster, and maybe I want to jump. Maybe they find out that they really like jumping. There's eventing for them, there's jumping, and then some people are like, I like the obstacles. That's the only thing I want to do. Well, I'm like, well, there's a whole bunch of other associations that increase speed. So, but then other people, they love what we're doing, and they're going to be with us their whole competition time. So who are we for? It depends on what you're wanting to do. I think that we're really, really set up for young horses and green riders and novice riders and people that maybe don't like to go fast. Let's see here. Her next thing, what are you judged on? Okay. Well, that right there is really going to depend on what we're looking at. Okay. So if we're looking at obstacles, you have your approach, you have the obstacle, you have your departure. If you are talking about ranch horsemanship, that right there is all about transitions and some refined things like side passing, spinning, backing. But remember, for a lot of people, they don't know how to do any of that, and we are for them. We are going to help them, okay? Or if we have trail is, we might ask you to go around a tree. We might ask you to stop in the middle of a ditch with just your front 2 feet in there. Not your feet, of course, your equines. But it just, so a general thing about what are we looking for? We're not looking for robots. We're looking for a willing partner and just compliance, but compliance without your equine being a robot. We don't want them to, I don't know how to say this. Like, I don't want a horse with a dead soul because you've trained too much. I still want them to be an equine, and I want them to be a willing partner. Okay, I don't want you to have to force them. I don't want it to be aggressive. I want them to be like, I trust my rider or my handler, and I'm going to do what they ask me to do, and I'm going to be in an athletic stance. Okay, so her next thing is, why is versatility important? Okay, so versatility, man, it makes me think about some people that do the same task in their life over and over and over, and they end up with carpal tunnel, or they end up with all sorts of things that, heat or pain from doing the same movement. Well, that's the way I feel about equine. I know that you can do something too much. And so versatility, it's going to help them have a better life, instead of just doing the same thing over and over. I mean, like, how many circles can you ask a horse to canter before they're just like, oh my gosh? I mean, like, we don't ask humans just to do math whenever they go to school. We ask them to write things and read things and do science experiments and learn about history. So I know that your equine, they like to do different things. So I think versatility is just better so you don't have holes in your horse. What that means is you don't have a horse that can do these amazing things and then can't walk past a garbage can, or you have a horse that can't handle a squirrel going in front of you, and then also you don't want to have a horse that can't go into an arena. So we have all sorts of people. We have some people that are so good at trail and their horse is like, what is that building? We're like, that's an arena, honey. Those are banners on the side. And then we have other people, their horses are like, you want me to step in mud? So I think having that versatility, it helps you set goals in different areas. It helps your horse be more rounded. It just helps where your horse isn't going to have, where they get worn out from doing the same movement over and over. Okay, next question. Okay, so Samantha Carter says, break down each event, the flow, how it works, and what to expect. Holy smokes, that's going to take a day. Okay, in general, here's what we have. We, at Von Holten Ranch, we host the Missouri State Championship, and now other people are signing up to host CT2V. So we host it in a 2-day format, but other hosts may host it in a 1-day format. So here, I'll tell you how we do it at our ranch is we have a competition where we have 2 things on Saturday and 1 thing on Sunday. So on Saturday, we start with ranch horsemanship, and we have everybody gets to sign up the day before for their go order, okay? We will divide everybody up into some of the more advanced divisions. We'll have cantering in their horsemanship patterns, and then some people that are on lesser advanced horses, or they may be more novice or youth, and then we also have divisions for 60 and over. And they do not canter in ranch horsemanship. So we have those, we call that ranch horsemanship and modified ranch horsemanship. Okay, so modified means that they're not cantering in that. So we'll have everybody sign up, and then we have the more advanced people go first. I hate whenever I competed and they always made either the kids go first or the novice riders go first. It's the 2 people that are scared to death the most. Okay, so I make all the advanced people go first, so then the younger or the more novice competitors can actually see them compete, okay? So we start with ranch horsemanship. After everybody gets done with that, then we go to trail, okay? So we actually have trail, so we use our trails instead of a trail alternative. So in a trail alternative would be using an arena or lesser than 2 miles of trail. So we actually use trail because we have the miles. So with that, I have everybody, whenever they're signing up the day before or the morning of, okay, they go out in groups of 4 to 6. It'll depend on the size of the competition. And then I have each group has a time that they come and get to see what they're going to be asked to do. And I have 1 person that is there to explain what they have to do. And then after they get everything explained to them, then they ride out as a group. As that group is leaving out, the next group comes in and they get their paperwork and everything explained to them the same way. And then after everything's explained to that second group, then they have a ride out time and they go. And we keep doing that. We usually end up with, 10, 12, 15 groups. Well, the reason that we do it that way instead of having one big meeting at the beginning is because then everybody has the same amount of time to prepare for the trail competition, okay? If somebody was going to host CT2V in an arena, the other groups would not be allowed to come and watch because then they might get to, it would be unfair because they might end up with an hour and a half to practice on something that they're going to have to do whenever the other group didn't. So the reason for that spacing is just so everybody has a more fair competition scenario. After we get through with ranch horsemanship and trail, we have something called cowboy roulette, and that right there is really fun because you enter into it before you know what it is, okay? And then I've made these people put underwear on a goat and get back on their horse. I've made them do barrel racing. I made them put their horse's foot on a paper plate. Who can do that the best? And we time them. We have done crazy stuff, okay? So we'll do cowboy roulette. After that, we have our Foundations 1, Foundations 2, so it's 2 different levels of in-hand classes, and then our Buckaroo. So that would be Saturday. And then on Sunday, we do obstacles and the award, and then I say, take your prize and get your butt home so you can get home, get your clothes cleaned up, and get ready to go back to work on Monday, okay? So that's how we do that. On Sunday, when we have obstacles, we have everyone signs up and they all do the same obstacles, but then we divide the people into the groups whenever we get all of the scores. So it's wonderful for our judge, because our judge doesn't know if they're judging a novice or if they're judging someone in the pro division. So you get honest feedback, because our judge doesn't know what division you're in, because you can randomly sign up. If you're a morning person, go early. If you hate mornings, sign up later, so I really like that. I feel like it gives the competitor way more honest feedback. I've had to compete in pro division, or I compete in the pro division, and there's some things that I am not a pro at, but I have to, because I'm paid in the equine field, right? So a lot of times I would get higher scores than what I deserved, because I know the judge felt like they had to, because I was riding in the pro division. And if they would have not have known what division I was in, I would have gotten lower scores. So you don't hear a lot of people admit to that, but I don't have anything to prove to anybody, so you'll hear stuff like that from me all the time. Okay, so let's see here. Her next question, why in hand? Who can benefit from it? Okay, who can benefit from it? Every equine is the answer, okay? And then why in hand? Man, because whenever you're building a house or something, you need to have a solid foundation, and your equine is your house. You need to have a solid foundation. There might be times, and you could be somebody that's like, oh, I don't need no in hands, nothing or other, okay? Well, and then you're on the trail, and you come off, and you can't get back on, and you need your horse to go through a ditch, but you've never led them through one, or if you got to put somebody on your horse because they got hurt out on the trail and you need to lead them, and then they're just like, what? I need to go through all of this? You need it for safety reasons, and you need it for just, once again, developing that willing partner. Okay, so that's Samantha Carter. Next person is Shelly Bowen. And Shelly Bowen has come here and been our chaos coordinator, okay? I don't remember the exact title I've given her before, but she's done data entry before, and it is so nice. If you're a host, if you have somebody that can do some 10 key or whatever and put in data, it's so nice. It helps the event go so much better. So Shelly says, what breeds of horses and styles of gear and clothing are allowed? What is the most frequent issue that people run into that loses them points? Okay, so what breeds of horses and styles of gear of clothing are allowed? Okay, so most definitely Western, English, and then also we have like a hybrid. So like an Australian saddle is most definitely welcome. I have some exact answers on clothing. I know that we, of course, want a long-sleeved shirt with a collar, but we also allow short sleeve with a collar, and then some shirts that zip up. We're okay with that. English, we want them to be in traditional English attire. So here we go. I'm going to read to you the dress code, okay? All competitors under 18 must have a helmet on. Minors without helmets will be disqualified. Okay? All competitors must wear a cowboy hat or a helmet. All competitors may wear either a collared long-sleeve button-up shirt, a collared short-sleeve or long-sleeve polo, or a collared short-sleeve button-up shirt. Shirts may zip or button. And if you're like, zip, if you don't understand why there's a zipper needed, you might not have a chubby belly. Okay, those zipper shirting, they make life easier. I'm a larger cowgirl, and so I love having a zipper. And it also keeps your horn from getting in between your, ripping your shirt open if it gets in between the buttons. And it says, shirts are to be tucked in before the competitor begins the competition. At the national championship, only collared long-sleeve button-up shirts or long-sleeve polo style will be permitted. Okay, so no short sleeve, nothing other at nationals, because we're trying to look like all that in a bag of chips, okay? So I need you to cowboy up on me for that one. It says all Western competitors are to wear jeans and boots, including lace-up riding boots. Chaps, chinks, and half chaps are acceptable. All English competitors are to wear breeches and boots. If a competitor chooses to ride an English saddle, they may wear a collared polo or traditional shirt and jacket. At the national championship, only a traditional shirt, and then the jacket is optional. And then competitors, judges, and all support staff can wear additional clothing during inclement weather. Judges are to adhere to the same dress code as competitors. The cowboy hat is preferred but optional for the judge. And I'll tell you why I actually put that it was optional for the judges. I had a judge before that. I've actually had two judges that needed to wear a wig. One of them was balding and one had alopecia. And I didn't want them they usually don't wear a hat, and I didn't want to mess up their wig. So that's why I put that in there, so I needed to put it in there for everybody. There are no parameters on clothing for support staff. We are just like, thank you. We do not care what you're wearing if you're support staff. And any dress code rules not adhered to will result in a 2-point deduction in horsemanship, and hybrid saddle riders may choose to wear Western or English attire. They just got to choose one. Okay, so in Shelley's question, she said, what's the most frequent issue that people run into that loses them points? Man, that's just going to be a horsemanship thing where probably looking down or being too tight or leaning, or that's just going to be just general horsemanship. From a personal standpoint, she says, this is Shelley talking, I know I was always interested in the skills needed for the horse and the rider in each of the classes, including cantering, lead changes. What if you've done play days and won ribbons in county shows? Okay, so we have one division that's called greenhorn, and greenhorn is for any age of horse, but it's never done any 10 competitions that are in saddle, okay? So we're not talking about halter competitions, but it doesn't matter. If you went to a sorting competition, you went to a play day, you went to a barrel race, you went to a fun show, then you it's 10. We don't care what they are. Don't be that person that's like, well, we ain't done 10 of this, and then they've got some horse that's been to 40 rodeos or something like that, okay? That is not what a greenhorn is. We're really trying to protect that division. And don't be a person that's like, well, it didn't do them with me. And I'm like, no, if you know the history of the horse and the horse has competed in any 10 different competitions, it could be the same thing. If they've done 10 play days, then that right there, they're not greenhorn. That is literally for a horse that or any equine that has done 10 or less competitions. Okay. Also not open for pro riders in that greenhorn division. Okay. So next person is new to CT2V. Her name is Deanna Coley. Okay, and she has a big old rescue for donkeys, and then she has an amazing big old horse, the most anti-donkey horse you would ever see. Okay, so here we go. She says, what do each division need to be there? She's like, I need some clarification, or clarification would be helpful. Okay. So we have 4 divisions that are based on the skill set of the rider. It goes Wrangler, Maverick, Bronc-Buster, Trail Boss. Okay, so a Wrangler is going to be novice. A Maverick is going to be intermediate. Bronc-Buster is going to be like an amateur. And then Trail Boss is going to be our open division. Okay, and we have a criteria. We have those all set up on our CT2V.com website, and it kind of gives you more of a description on each of those. But Wrangler's our novice class. So I'm going to tell you something, is that I am very protective of that class. Meaning, I hate whenever you go somewhere and novices are not novice, okay? I really want there to be a novice class, okay? And you could be novice for a long time, okay? If you if you never develop all those skill sets and you're just trying to hold on for your life, then you might be in that novice division for a long time. But whenever I see that you've graduated, you've got to move on up out of there, okay? So we have those divisions. Then we have 2 divisions that are by age of the rider. So we got youth, which is 15 and under, and that's as of January 1st. So if their birthday is January 2nd and they turn 16, well, they can still ride our youth division, okay? And then we have one called Trailblazer. Trailblazer, you got to be at least 60 years old. So we've got 2 divisions based on age. Then we have 2 divisions that are for developing equine. We have the greenhorn division, which is any age equine that has had 10 or less competitions. And then we have a futurity that is for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. Okay. We have foundations 1 and 2. Those are 2 different levels of in hand, and they're only going to be doing in hand, like you're on the ground leading your equine through the obstacles. We also have the future of everything, of all equine associations. We have a buckaroo, which is lead line, and that's for 8 and under. And then we also have a schooling class. Now, schooling, I love this division. It's for people, they might not know what division they're supposed to be in, or it might be, you know what, if you rode a horse and something and then they just were horrible, then you can go and do that same competition again and be like, hey, this horse was just awful. Let's say that your trainer is here or your more advanced friend is here and you do obstacles and that horse just gave you the middle finger the whole time and said, nope, I ain't doing nothing. You can enter that horse into schooling right after you've competed and have someone else do that for you. Or you could have another run and be like, I want to try that again. Okay, so schooling's also for people like if they're a pro and they can't ride in futurity, right? Because their horse would be over 5 years old, but they're a pro. They could enter into schooling because maybe their horse is not a pro level horse yet. So kind of lets you play and get that development of horse that you need without having to fully do it, So there's that. And then we have 2 other divisions. It's called different abilities. So there we have that for special needs adults and children. And we have an assisted and an unassisted division. So, and they just compete in obstacles and ranch horsemanship. And so, yeah, those are all of our classes. I love them. We consider the foundations class an opportunity class. And we opened it up to our other host where maybe they host other things at their place, like maybe eventing or jumping or maybe sorting. And so they could have different opportunity classes. We're really going to push for the in-hands, and we offer those at our national championship also. Okay, so that is one question from Deanna. Okay, she says, is laying a horse down to mount cheating since I have 2 bad legs? I cannot mount from the ground. My horse is 17 one hands. Okay, remember I told you it was like an anti-donkey horse. It's massive. Okay, so here's the deal. We have mounting blocks at everything that we ask you to do on the trail. We have, if we ever have you dismount or mount, in obstacles, we have a mounting block, or we have something for you to get up on. Like it might be a rock, or it might be a taller tire or something, okay? So we have, we always have mounting blocks for things, okay? Yeah, and is it cheating to have a horse lay down? You know what? Here's the deal. If we ever had you mount and you wanted to lay your horse down, I would ask your judge whenever we're doing walkthroughs if they would prefer you to use our mounting block or if they would prefer for you to lay your horse down. Some people might not want you to do that, depending on what the judge's background is. So I would just say ask your judge about, because they're all going to be different. So for me, man, I have seen that go so sideways. Because getting, whenever the horse goes to stand up, it's not easy. I mean, it's like you get slung around. You look like you're riding a buck and bronc, right? But it is really cool to be able to lay your horse down. So, but I'm going to say, I think I would prefer for y'all to use a mounting block. For me, if I was judging you, I'd prefer to see that. Okay. Her next question is, can snaffle bits be used in any division? Yes. That was the easiest question I've had all night. All right. Where is the podcast going to be up? Do you know that the podcast that you're listening to right now, it is, you can find this on any place that music is. We've been downloaded in every state. I've got to check on Vermont. That's the one, but I think I might have picked up Vermont. And then it's been downloaded in almost 40 countries. So, man, all right. Okay, so the next person, so that's all from Deanna. It's Melinda Bobbitt. Now, Melinda Bobbitt, man, this lady can ride, and her husband can ride, and I've met her daughters, I've met her grandson, like just a great family. Okay, so she says, for someone my age, it's nice to know it's not based on speed and time. You're welcome. I love that too. CT2V is everything I always wanted, but now that I developed it and I help train our judges and I train our hosts and stuff, I don't want to compete in it because it wouldn't be fair. So it's everything I ever wanted. So here we go. Next person is Julie Daniel, and she says, how does a beginner prepare herself and her horse to compete? I'm 63 and my horse is 25. It's an ex-reiner. Can this be for us? 100% this can be for us. So she would be eligible for our Trailblazer class. And depending upon her horsemanship, whenever she got here, we could just see where she would be, between Wrangler, Maverick, Bronc Buster, and Trail Boss also. And then how does someone prepare? We have clinics. We have all sorts of clinics. And then also the day before the competition, we have two 2-hour clinics. And if they're full, then you can always audit, which means watch for free. But I think the first step would just be read our rule book. And like I host clinics all the time. And all of these hosts that are coming on board, a lot of them are going to want to host a clinic. I would most definitely go to a clinic if you're able to. It depends on how far away you are. So, all right, next question. All right, I don't know this lady. Let me see if I can say her last name right. But it's Deborah Vasquez. Okay, Vazquez. However, I think that's Vasquez. All right. Never heard of it before here in the north, so any information would be good. And where is it active? Okay. All right. So right now, Missouri, we have 2 hosts that are coming on for Missouri. I have a host that's supposed to come on for Utah in 2027. We have a state championship series that's supposed to be, they're supposed to be coming on for this year in Kentucky. I talked to someone from Idaho tonight. I'm looking at Iowa. So for a state championship. So here's the deal is we're not in a lot of places right now, but we're about to be. We have an ambassador program. And the ambassadors that I have right now, I have 3. One is a couple that they've been coming here, and they go around and just sing our praises all the time. And you know what? I thought they would be an excellent fit for our ambassador program. Okay, so that right there is Ed and Terry Schaefer. Now they are not professionals. They have actually been competing in like Greenhorn and Wrangler. Okay. So, but they've been here for a while, and I think that they are just, they came from the trail riding community, and I think they would just be an excellent, snapshot of the competitors that we're looking for, okay? People that are just trying to improve their horsemanship. So there's one ambassador. Another ambassador that we have is it's our longest standing returning clinician at our facility, and that's Lee Hart. Lee Hart just won the 2025 EXCA World Championship in the Pro Division. And he's an ambassador for CT2V because he teaches clinics all over the world. He goes to other countries. He teaches a lot in the United States. Like, he has probably a single-digit number of weekends off in a year, okay? So, but he has all sorts of varying people that take his clinics. So we're a good place for a lot of his clinic people. And then, of course, his love is with the EXCA. And so he's always going to be looking for people to go there. And, the EXCA is a wonderful place for people that love doing obstacles and want to go fast. All right, our next ambassador is Ty Evans. And I am over here doing spirit fingers, okay? Like, woo, Ty Evans. So him and his wife are in Utah, and they're going to like 38 different facilities this year. And he's going to talk to them about maybe hosting CT2V, and he is the one that's wanting to maybe host in 2027. And that man is in the mule world, but, man, people are missing the boat if they think that he can only work with people with mules, okay? Because I'm with horses and mules, but he has a whole bunch of, he even has in-hand clinics. So you need to be looking up Ty Evans. He's always on the back cover of Mules and More magazine, but he's also a presenting clinician at expos, those big equine expos across the United States. So I was just on his podcast, so you should most definitely look him up. But with ambassadors like the ones that we have, we are going to grow. And this is just the 2026 is the first year that we've really opened it up and pushed it to have other people host. So we're not in the north right now, but baby, I'm coming. All right. So Deborah, if you're able to listen to this and you know a place that would love to do this, hook a sister up and give me a phone number, okay? And then if you want to look at the rule book, go to CT2V.com, and we also have a Facebook page. All right, so let me turn this page. All right, we have two more people that have asked questions. Amy O'Neill. I just love that lady. She is just as sweet as can be, and she's got a big old tall horse, and they're just always so trying. That lady, I think she's 100% sweet. I don't even think she's 1% mean. She probably would be some mama bear, but... All right, so her question is, what level of competitor and horse can participate? You know what, everybody? You know who I think would be like the ideal person is, I was 33 before I took my first lesson. And there was so much, but I was the best rider in my family. And I didn't know how much I didn't know. I wish we found a whole bunch of Brandys, back in the day. Like, oh my gosh, my first horse competition, I didn't know what leads were. I didn't know beat counts. I didn't know that my horse would not load into a trailer that wasn't mine. I didn't know how to side pass. I didn't know how to spin. Man, I would love to be there for those people. I also want to be there for people that are aging. Our facility, Von Holten Ranch, we won Missouri's Best Ranch. And I am seeing my clients age, and I see people, man, they would have rode something into the dirt, you know what I mean? Like, they were like these amazing cowgirls and cowboys, but dang, Mother Nature don't let up, and we all get older. And so I'm a place for older competitors that they still want to, set goals. They still want to get better, but they need to be in a safe environment. So I'm for people that have never done anything. And then I'm for people that have young horses, or they get a horse that's older and it's green. I'm for a lot of people that a lot of associations are not for. Okay. And then I'm for people that are excelling in other divisions, like our other competition series. We have people that compete in ranch horse stuff that's here. We have people that are ropers that are like bad mamma jamma ropers. We have people that compete in eventing that come here, in dressage. I mean, we have people that are champions in their stuff, and they're not going to be in our lower divisions, right? We just have, here's the deal. Whenever you have those three different things, you might have somebody that's amazing in the arena, and they are petrified to be on the trail. And then you might have a trail rider person that their horse doesn't even know what collection is, okay? They don't know what leads are, and they don't even ride with their legs. But, man, they might be so good on trail, and it might be the person that arena person might need a partner with so they don't die out on the trail. And then that arena rider can help that trail rider, to help develop their horse. So nobody gets blown out of the water because of the obstacles, the trail, and the arena work, the ranch horsemanship. I just love what we've put together. All right. So any level for Amy's first question. Her second question is, what discipline can attend CT2V, Western only or English also? Okay, so most definitely our English riders are welcome. We haven't had very many. I would say less than 5. But the people that ride English do extremely well. Here's the thing, though, is if we have you drag something, you can't be like, I can't drag nothing, I'm in an English saddle. That was a decision, right? That's a decision. So, and we typically don't have things where you would have to dally because it's so heavy, So, anyways, I'm just saying that we do invite English riders, but don't ask for any special anything, But then if we have people jump something, the Western riders can't be like, I can't jump that, I got a horn on my saddle. Yes, you can. You just you got to do it correctly, okay? All right, so no complaining, but you can ride in either one, or the hybrid saddles, so that might be one that doesn't have a horn. Okay, what divisions are there to participate? Do you need to be proficient in all aspects of the competition, and can an older participant feel welcome? I hope that older participants feel welcomed. We added, Trailblazer was our last division to add, and we added it the same time that we added futurity to all the competitions instead of just nationals. So a lot of people, she said, what divisions are there to compete in? We had already talked about that, but a lot of people will do an in-hand division in addition to a versatility. And if you can't do the whole competition, you can still just come and compete in obstacles only or ranch horsemanship only, but the ribbons are for the versatility and for the in-hand and for the buckaroo. Okay, last question. Let's see here. I don't know if this is a question. It's from Susan Hoskins. Okay, so she says, honestly, I think when folks understand what CT is all about, it sells itself. When you highlight these important characteristics, very unlike most equine events, it certainly drew me in. Emphasis on developing an all-around horse, the incredibly encouraging environment for all participants, in-hand classes offered, special needs and accommodation classes offered, clinics given prior to the events, many levels of classes, developing relationship with your horse, budget friendly. I cannot say enough. I was only able to attend one, but I have found friends that have attended several. My experience was fantastic. I am hoping and praying that there will be one here in the St. Louis, St. Charles, Troy area. I am so there to help if someone to host. Cannot wait to hear the podcast on CT2V. Keep up the great work, Brandy. Well, I just need to keep that really close to my computer desk and read it a couple of times a day. So I love Country Tough Trail Versatility. I feel like I'm going to do great with support of host. This is going to be our 12th year running Von Holten Ranch, and we have hosted so many events. And I have 8 judges cards from all of the different associations because I always needed to have my back just in case my judge couldn't come. And I've competed in a lot of different things. And so we've hosted, I've competed, we've judged, we've done everything. And I know what it looks like to have support, and I know what it looks like to not have support of being a host. And man, that's going to be one of my strongest areas, and a lot of the competitors won't even know how strong I am for the host. So this year we got a special printer to print out the memberships. So it's on like a plastic card, and it's printed in color and has your name and your competitor number. And we have a printed rule book because I like to have a paper one. And I just don't see how, with the prices that we charge, like Versatility is like $60, Nationals is more. I just don't see how it's not going to be successful. I don't see how it's not going to be a common name in the equine industry in less than 2 years. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I will ask for more questions, and I'll do another series on this right here. But for right now, CT2V, Country Tough Trail Versatility. All right, so thank you for tuning in to Country Tough with Brandy Von Holten.